July 10th, 2002. This is the nation's top-selling video game. The object?
Kill as many people as you can, get as many stars as you can.
And millions of kids are mastering it by learning to slaughter bystanders.
It's as close as you can get to killing someone without being arrested or really killing someone.
Kill police officers. Hire prostitutes. Club them to death and reclaim their money.
Like an adrenaline rush.
Tonight, it's just a game. Playing Grand Theft Auto 3. From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel. There is nothing new about worrying over the impact of media on children. One generation of adults after another has viewed with alarm and risen with righteous indignation over the potential damaging effects of violent comic books, rock and roll music, graphic movies, obscene lyrics, not to mention the wholesale impact of the internet and all that's contained within. But of all the worrisome material swirling about out there, Grand Theft Auto 3, one of the most popular, technically sophisticated, and graphic video games ever designed, may have given our generation of adults something new to worry about. Since it was released 9 months ago, Grand Theft Auto 3 has sold 3.5 million copies at $50 per. It carries a rating of M for mature audience, indicating that its content is unsuitable for persons under 17. But that, of course, has only made it more tantalizing to teens under that age. And hundreds of thousands of them have apparently had no trouble finding an adult to purchase the game for them. What does it do? Well, it puts the player in the assumed role of an escaped convict trying to work his way up the ladder in the world of organized crime and gang warfare. It is, as Michelle Norris now reports, just the sort of game you'd like your 13-year-old to get his hands on.
In the upstairs bedroom of this upstate New York home, a group of 13-year-old boys is carrying out a reign of terror on screen.
Oh man, this is bad.
That would put them on the nation's most wanted list in real life.
It's my general object of this game. Kill as many people as you can, get as many stars as you can.
They're deep into a video game called Grand Theft Auto 3, where players assume the role of an escaped convict who hijacks cars, guns down pedestrians,
Oh, dude.
has sex with a prostitute,
Want me to shoot her?
Yes.
then earns extra points by killing her so he can snatch back his money.
It's as close as you can get to killing someone without being arrested or really killing someone.
There are plenty of violent video games on the market today, but what sets Grand Theft Auto 3 apart is the game's stunning realism. GTA 3, as it is commonly called, revolves around a street thug who tries to work his way up the organized crime ladder in a fictional metropolis called Liberty City. There are shopping districts and slums, junkyards, and a red light district. There's even a Chinatown.
You can explore the world, you can get to know the city, the streets. You can do all these other activities that are not necessarily part of the given path designed by the developer.
That world takes interactive gaming to a new level. Pass pedestrians on the street, and you can overhear snatches of their conversation.
No families, no respect.
Don't like the music in the car you just hijacked?
You are a no-good.
Change the radio station to something more to your liking.
Although the violent content gets a lot of play, what the game designers have actually achieved beneath that is really amazing. It's amazing stuff.
The technical wizardry has attracted loyal fans, but the graphic violence has attracted angry critics. Denounced by Congress here in the U.S., the game has been outlawed in Australia, and several other countries are also considering bans. Despite, or perhaps because of such complaints, Grand Theft Auto 3 is the nation's top-selling video game this year, and a particularly big hit with teenage boys.
I just think it makes it more exciting because you're not supposed to have it. So I think that's why a lot of people our age buy it.
Actually, they talked their parents into buying it for them. With its M or mature rating, Grand Theft Auto is not intended for anyone younger than 17. Even so, Lawrence Jones convinced his mother to buy the game.
I don't think that it's going to impact on him. I don't think it's going to erode morals or anything else. It's no different than the movies that they go to.
But James Oppenheim, who reviews video games and other software for children, says there is a difference, a big one. Children are not just watching violence on screen, they're acting it out in increasingly realistic settings.
And you see that you get extra points for shooting somebody in the head as opposed to shooting them in the body. You have to wonder exactly what the values that we're teaching our children. Parents have to not check their parenting skills at the door just because it's a video game.
But is it possible that Oppenheim has it wrong? That parents who allow their children to play gruesome games like Grand Theft Auto might actually be helping their children in some way?
And one of the functions of any kind of play, whether it's playing with your toys or playing with a video game, is to help you make a little more sense of your anxieties and get a little more control of them and be a little less troubled by them.
A new book called Killing Monsters makes a provocative argument. Much like the cops and robbers playground games that kids used to play, today's high-tech version of make-believe can help children make sense of a confusing and troubling world.
It's a very natural reaction of young people to want to play with the very thing that is disturbing to them and toughen themselves up, prove that they can look at the image and handle the content.
The 13-year-olds in Monticello, New York, say the game does provide a release.
When I get mad, I just play these and get all my angry thoughts out of my head.
It's just something fun to do. It takes your mind off of things.
But these boys also admit that the line between fantasy and reality is not always so clear.
It's like, you gotta stop it. It's like, you can't.
My palms get sweaty and I get like nervous if I'm about to do something hard in the video game. I don't know, it's like an adrenaline rush.
Someone would think if it's that easy on the game, you could probably do it in real life.
Critics worry that these increasingly ferocious games are desensitizing children to violence. Much was made of the fact that the boys who opened fire on their classmates in Columbine were obsessed with a fatalistic game called Doom. But there is no conclusive research that establishes a clear link between violent video games and aggressive behavior. Still, video game producers are sensitive to the concerns, so much so that some are wondering if they should even be called games.
Games, for the most part, are viewed by the general populace as toys, as things for children.
The phenomenal success of Grand Theft Auto 3 has created a rush to match the game's over-the-top violence. A bill introduced in Congress this spring would make it harder for children to get their hands on those games, making it a federal crime to sell or rent violent video games to minors. The irony in all this, according to experts who study child development, is that the louder the complaints about violence in video games, the greater the demand among teenagers.
Sayonara, hookers.
It is marketing buzz based on one of the basic rules of adolescence. Teenagers desire the very thing they are not supposed to have. This is Michelle Norris reporting for Nightline in Monticello, New York.
We'll play a little Grand Theft Auto when we come back. And joining me here in our studio is Steve Crenshaw. He just graduated from high school. He's 17, on the verge of turning 18, and has been playing video games for years. James Garbarino, next to me here, teaches human development at Cornell. He's written extensively on children and violence. And Sergeant Gerald Neal is the chairman of the D.C. Fraternal Order of Police. He has been a police officer for 23 years. Actually, I'm not going to talk to these two guys for a while yet, Steve, because I want to begin by talking to you. And you were just telling me in the break you disagree with just about everything those 13-year-olds had to say.
Yes, I do. I don't play the game as a release or because it's, quote, the closest you can get to killing a person without killing a person. I play the game, it's more of a challenge. Just like any other video game, the object of the game is to get through the game in any way you can, quickly as possible.
Subject matter really irrelevant? In other words, if this were cars racing or a bicycle race, it would be just as exciting to you?
Yeah, one of the great aspects about Grand Theft Auto 3 is that it's not simply about going around killing people, murdering police officers. You can also, there are many other aspects of the game that the developers have put in there for the sole purpose of drawing attention away from the violence, such as there are car races, as you said. You can fly airplanes, you can glide airplanes, you can drive boats, many other things that are not violent and are just as satisfying because of the realistic world they're set in.
As you watch those 13-year-olds talking about the game, do you have a slightly queasy feeling that a game like this should not be played by kids quite that young?
Definitely. I was actually quite troubled by the 13-year-olds. Most of the people I know who play the game are 17 or 18, and they seem to have much more realistic grasp on the game, and the line between fantasy and reality is quite clear for them. The 13-year-olds, after watching them play the game, I think their parents should definitely reconsider allowing them to have that game. I do realize that it is quite easy to go out and have an adult buy a game for you, but the parents are supposed to be monitoring what their kids are playing.
What I'd like to do now, Steve, and we have picked something that is violent, but we had plenty of choice, right?
Yes, you
we
did.
could have picked all kinds of stuff. This is no more, and indeed in some respects a little less violent than some of what you might see in the game. But just watch this. It runs about a minute or so.
Take him out!
I'm going to use kind of a highfalutin phrase, but tell me what you think is, if anything, the redeeming social value of playing a game like that.
It's a game. It's like any other game, Monopoly, a board game. I realize there are violent aspects of it. However, it works on strategic thinking. Believe it or not, you have to figure out ways to accomplish missions. Obviously, sometimes the best way is not the bloodiest way. So there's aspects of that, and also hand-eye coordination. That's my mantra. I always say video games will help my hand-eye coordination.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, show us a little bit of that hand-eye coordination, and I realize doing this while talking to me, while being on national television, probably raises the difficulty level by a factor of at least 3, but take us through a little bit of this. What are you doing here?
Right now, I am in a stolen vehicle. That is the easiest way to acquire vehicles. I'm in basically the free mode part of the game. It's where you can do whatever you want, just drive around.
Well, you just smashed into a police
car. That's because I'm talking to you.
I understand, but you know, there's no sense of whoops, I just hit a police car, right?
If you do hit a police car more than once, they start to come after you.
Is there a limit in your mind? In other words, if there were a clever enough game with good enough graphics that involved, for example, extracting information under torture from someone, is there a limit to what you don't do if the graphics are good enough, and if the storyline is intriguing enough?
It really depends on the game. Honestly, I don't know how far. I don't know how grotesque you could get with video games. Luckily, they haven't gotten that far.
Well, I mean, this is pretty grotesque.
It's true, but
you pick up hookers, you take them in the back of the car, right?
You can do that.
Then after you've had your way with the young woman, you follow her into a park, beat the hell out of her, kill her, and take the money back.
You are allowed to do that.
You're encouraged to do that.
Yeah, you're not encouraged. You're not necessarily encouraged to. Point system isn't rewarding. The way the rewards are.
I thought it sort of built up your life juices or something. Isn't there an element?
There is an element to that. That's a clever little trick the gamers put in, or the programmers put in there,
right,
for 13-year-old boys to get a laugh out of.
If the assumption is that it's only a game, and it doesn't really have a negative effect on the person who's playing the game, then why should there be any kind of limit?
If it allows the person to develop some aspect of their self without detrimenting that person I think the limit is irrelevant.
Okay. And I guess that's one of the questions, and those are among the questions that I'll be asking our other guests. And thank you very much. And I don't want you to feel that I'm beating up on you here. It's very nice of you to come in, and very nice of you to be such a good sport and explain in behalf of all the GTA fans. No problem. Thank you. We'll be back in a moment. I'm back once again with Steve Crenshaw, James Garbarino, and Sergeant Gigi Neal. Sergeant, as you watch this, must be difficult as a cop to watch a game where cops are being offed left and right.
It is. It's I understand it's a game, so it's not real reality. But in the reality that some people live in, they don't step away from that. Violence is a form of power for a lot of people in the streets, and a gun makes a little person big, and some of them live by the gun out there. So to do this game and to live in their reality might be very difficult. For someone like Steve, it's probably not a problem.
Mr. Garbarino, I know you've looked at some of the studies that have been done. I don't think a whole lot has been done that has even partially demonstrated that there is a correlation between playing this kind of a game and actually acting it out. But is there any kind of correlation?
Well, I think the evidence is new because the technology is new. But, you know, it took us decades to demonstrate that the effect of TV violence on kids' aggressive behavior is about as strong as the effect of smoking on cancer, lung cancer. Most people who smoke don't get lung cancer. Most people who watch TV don't act in really violent ways, but the effect is there. And I think what little research there is already on violent video games is really proving 2 points, or eventually will be shown to prove 2 points. One, that the mechanism of holding the weapon in your hand and shooting at the screen does get you ready to kill. Doesn't make you a killer, but breaks down the inhibition. And then the other thing is that the constant submerging yourself in the imagery of violence does increase violent thinking, violent feelings, in some studies, violent actions. It's all kind of new, but part of me, the question is, why take the risk? You asked, what's the socially redeeming value of this? It's entertaining, but I think like smoking, we'll learn more and more that it is both risky and sort of disgusting and degrading.
I suppose that the argument can be made that there are a few people out there in society who are going to come out of a violent movie and want to reenact what they saw in that movie. Are we going to take away from society the right to go and see those violent movies, assuming that they're good ones, simply because some people are not mature enough or not stable enough to get through the process?
Well, I think we're going to take it away from children and teenagers who are particularly vulnerable. That's part of our responsibility as adults, to monitor what they have access to. That's why we don't let them have automatic weapons at 6 or drive cars at 5, because we know it's a danger to them.
But we give them toy cars, and some families give their children toy weapons.
That's true.
Right?
But, you know, the research is pretty clear that fantasy acting out of violence doesn't diminish later violence. It doesn't get it out of your system, as some of the 13-year-olds think. In fact, the evidence is pretty clear that the more you act it out, the more likely you are to actually do it later on. And the fantasy becomes a step towards the reality. And so the idea you get rid of the feelings just doesn't seem to work. Now, most kids won't go out and kill, certainly, but then, say, most people who smoke don't end up with lung cancer. But it's a risk, and why take the risk?
Just as a matter of curiosity, Sergeant, you say you've been on the force 23 years?
Yes, sir, 23 and a half.
Of all the causes out there, poverty, drugs, gang warfare, whatever it may be, and I'm asking you, where would you put a game like this?
Oh, this is a game, but it's a violent game. There is a thing as an urban terror, and some kids in some corners are controlled by armed youth who are urban terrorists. And this game isn't part of that for the average person, but for someone who lives in that neighborhood, his reality is different than Steve's.
Closing thought?
Well, probably 85% of kids who kill come out of the kind of backgrounds you're talking of, deprivation and abuse. But there's another 15% who don't have all those factors. And when you start to probe into their lives, you often find that they practice their dark fantasies through playing games like this. And I ask again, you know, what's the social benefit for it? There's a clear cost. You know, why accept people make a lot of money out of it and kids get another thing to have some fun with? Why justify that?
So to summarize, lots of other things we have to worry about that deserve to be much higher on the list, but still you would insist this is one of them.
Yeah, this is on the list.
Steve, you got the last word.
I think it's unfair to overgeneralize. I can draw the line between fantasy and reality. I understand where this game, it's not a reality at all, and I understand where most games are just that, games, fantasy. So I think I think it's up to the parents to monitor what their children are playing, watching, doing, because they are not as mature and they can't make the same delineations.
Terrific. Okay, well, it's a very sensible and mature summation, and I thank you very much for helping us understand this a little better. Sergeant, thank you very much. Mr. Garbarino.